Guys, today we are going to talk about feedback and difficult conversations. So, healthy relationships and strong teams really depend on honesty and communication, not being harsh, not being emotional, and of course, not being passive aggressive, which I know a lot of us struggle with. It's also about being clear, respectful, direct, and of course, compassionate. Feedback is not about attacking someone, even though it may feel like that, but that's not what it is. It's about protecting the relationship. When done well, feedback builds trust. When avoided, trust slowly starts to disappear. Alrighty, so why does feedback matter? Matters because it helps you see what you can't see on your own. It shows you how your message is actually being received, not just how you intended it to land. That kind of awareness helps you adjust, improve, and communicate more clearly over time. So without feedback, you risk repeating the same mistakes and missing opportunities to grow. So how can we fix that? How can we improve this? Well, to help you do this, we're going to use a simple structure: observation, impact, expectation, and support. This keeps our message clear and respectful. It keeps emotions from taking over. Now, let's walk. Alrighty, so we are going to start with observations here. You want facts, not just assumptions. So you need to start with what you can see and hear. So not just your opinions, not just assumptions you may have, and you're not just placing blame, because we have a bad habit of doing that. So let me give you an example here of what I'm talking about, and maybe you're guilty of doing this as well. You probably said something like, "You're always late and just irresponsible." Alrighty, so now let's take a look here at the impact. Why that's gonna matter. How does this affect the team or the project or the relationship overall? People are more often to be more open to feedback when they can understand the purpose behind it. Okay? So, an example here. When the meetings start late, it's gonna push back the entire schedule that we had. Now, it's nothing personal, what you said, that is just practical and it's facts, because when something starts late, it's gonna push everything behind it. That's the impact of what's happening. So when you are able to give your observations and then tell the impact of what's happening, the feedback is going to go a little bit smoother for us. So now that we have the observations in place, the impacts in place, now we need to take a look here at the expectations. We need to be clear about what we say going forward. You're not giving hints. You're not giving vague comments. You are giving clear expectations. Here's an example. I need us to begin the meeting 8 a.m. sharp. People cannot meet expectations if they don't understand what is being asked of them. That's why those 7 C's we practice are so important, because we need those when we're giving the feedback. You have your observation, right? Then you have to give the impact of it, and then you have to give those clear expectations of what you're wanting. Those 7 C's fall right into this feedback formula. Leads us to our final piece of the puzzle for the feedback formula. And that's going to be offering support. You need to show you're on their side and you're not doing this to be malicious, because that's how it feels sometimes. When you do this, you are not just trying to control them, okay? You're trying to help them, and they need to see that and understand that. Here's an example of how you can approach that. Let's talk about what we can adjust. See how I didn't say any you statements? I said we. When you can say we, that shows it is a team effort and you're not punishing or blaming anyone. That is going to be crucial, whether you are in a team setting or just in your own personal relationships. Take out the you statements, because that's going to create that defensiveness. We're not trying to do that here, right? We kind of want to keep the peace for the most part and have those difficult conversations in a respectful manner. Once again, going back to the 7 C's, we need those for this feedback formula. You have to have them. It's going to take practice, but we can do it. I know we can. Nothing is perfect. Are you going to fumble a little bit? Of course. We're human. It happens. But the more you practice, the easier it will get. And those difficult conversations won't be as difficult anymore. Okay, now let's look at a full example so we can put it all together. So here is our example. When meetings start late, it pushes back the entire schedule. I need us to begin on time. So let's talk about what we can do to adjust this so we can stay on schedule as a team. Notice what's missing? I'll give you a second. Don't worry. Right. If you said there were no insults, there were no sarcasm, and of course there was no blaming, it was just clarity and respect. That's leadership. You don't just need that for your job. You need that for your everyday life and everyday relationships. And for those of us with kids, okay, I understand. I got kids. I have 3 of them. I get it. Okay, it is very hard to use those 7 C's when you're talking to those little gremlins. Okay, I love them to pieces, but sometimes mom loses her mind just a little bit. Okay, we've all been there. But if we can practice this feedback formula, incorporating those 7 C's, we're going to have better communication and we're going to be able to give better feedback that's actually going to be taken well and wanted to be implemented by the person we're giving that feedback to. Because if you can remember growing up, you had those boomer parents. Sorry, don't mean to say it like that, but I had them. They didn't have this. It was my way or the highway. You will respect me because that's how it is. Unfortunately, that is not the world we are in anymore. There needs to be an open dialogue. Show the respect to earn the respect. This will help you do that. So when we are able to follow that feedback structure, it's going to be doing 3 things for us. 1, it's going to help keep us calm. 2, it's going to keep conversations focused on what it should be on and not get personal. And 3, it will protect the relationship because you're keeping that respect intact. So this is going to allow you to be honest without being hurtful, which if you have a quick tongue like I do, that's very hard sometimes. But when we are able to follow the feedback flow, Once again, I'm going back to it. Incorporating those 7 C's, we are going to be able to give feedback in a positive manner that is actually going to help somebody and not be hurtful towards them. So I'm just going to go ahead and be honest with you right now that people are still going to get emotional, okay? That's just how we're wired. We're wired to defend ourselves because we know and understand what our shortcomings are. So when you or somebody else tries to call us out on that, we're already wired to get defensive so we can protect ourselves. Okay? So don't take it personally when this person is getting defensive. Alrighty, guys. Now that we have completely gone over those difficult conversations and giving feedback with our simple little formula here of observation, impact, expectations, and support, let's dive into our workbooks. So if you go to page 8, you will see feedback formula, how to give clear, respectful, and helpful feedback. During this process, please be honest. Like I always say, this is for your growth. It's not for me. Nobody will ever see this unless you want them to help hold you accountable. Once you have completed page 8, page 9 is just a continuation of it, where you're going to give a personal or professional practice of how to give feedback. Then you will reflect on that. Then that will lead you to page 10, where you're going to look at authenticity and accessibility. So this matters because people trust leaders and friends who are going to be honest, consistent in what they do and say, and who are approachable. Authenticity in communication just helps build credibility and emotional safety, which is something we all want. So do that activity on page 10 and on page 11, where you're going to do an applied practice. There's a little case study in there. It's very short, I promise you. So you will do that, and then you will get to page 12, and you need to stop right there, okay? We will get to page 12 next week for your personal action plan. So stay tuned for that. As always, thank you guys for coming and listening to my super fun, somewhat long lecture for a YouTube video. But overall, guys, thank you. Remember, lead with clarity and be respectful with it. And of course, I'm going to say it again because I've said it this whole video. Apply those 7 C's, okay? Like, subscribe, and share. And I will see you guys next Tuesday.